Hello, everybody. My name is David Garvey, and I'm with Illinois WorkNet. With me is my colleague Daniel Mariscal today, and we will be covering how to help returning citizens get back on track with guides, the virtual job fair, and the customer support center on Illinois WorkNet. So today we're going to be covering the Returning Citizens Guide, how to access it, what is included, the career tools and how you can access those, career plans, and using the customer support center to help returning citizens. And then we'll also talk about the virtual job fair. We'll provide an overview, a screen share of the partner guide, how to plan your event, and best practices. But if you're unfamiliar with Illinois WorkNet, Illinois WorkNet is the state's web portal system for workforce development. And this website connects individuals, employers, workforce, and community partners to career planning, education and training, and employment resources and tools. It connects local and statewide in-person and online services and includes WIOA resources, services, and tools, and all resources featured on our site are free to use. So thinking about returning citizens, you can let Daniel and I know afterwards and via email, what's on your wish list for returning citizens, list of resources that you'd like to see available as you're assisting these customers. And so with that in mind, we'll go to the Returning Citizens Guide that we have on Illinois WorkNet. And this was approved and curated with assistance from the Illinois Department of Corrections. And so to reach this page, this guide on WorkNet, you will open up the menu, select Updates and Help, and Returning Citizens. The Returning Citizens Guide right here. Alternately, you can enter the short URL, illinoisworknet.com/returning. Now, this guide is a starting point for returning citizens with points of consideration, resources, and organizations that are able to provide assistance for these individuals. And so to kind of navigate through the guide to show you what we have here, to go through the slides, you will select either these navigation arrows here or this menu between them. And that'll take you right to that point in this guide. But to go over what's included in this guide, we have what to do after your release, important personal identification documents, local resources to help you succeed, catching up on technology, top 5 things to know about expunging or sealing records, applying for jobs, interviewing for jobs, the first day on the job, and money management tips. Okay, and so first we will, on the first slide here, if we click Get Started, it'll take us to the next slide. And then the Learn More button will open up a new tab with the article in question. And so we'll go over each of these articles in kind of overview of what all is included within them. So what to do after your release. Afterwards, there's things to, first, up we have here is transportation, housing, and food. And within, and we have, some information and links to articles, other organizations, resources that can be used from the returning citizen and your work with them to help, meet that need for them. And within each article, we have additional resources, and these include, that way, just more eyes can see, the great opportunities that are available. So we have a link to another article within the guide that we'll get to that has a thorough list of local resources for that they can reach out to for getting health insurance, housing, SNAP, and more. We'll cover that shortly. But we also have a description of and a link to the American Job Centers that job seekers can use when it comes to their career and work support needs. And we have a link to the Service Finder so that they can use that tool to find the closest American Job Center to them. We also have information about the Illinois JobLink website and how they can use that site to find job openings, as well as the virtual job fair that we have on Illinois WorkNet, which Daniel will be talking about later in this presentation. And so that's the first article we have in the guide. Next, we have the important personal identification documents. And of course, those are the birth certificate, social security card, and driver's license. And we have links to different organizations that the returning citizens can use to access those documents. And below that, you'll see that we've also included the additional resources that we just covered here. So the local resources to help you succeed article, we'll just kind of quickly list what all is included in here. We have, kind of bullet points of different needs and different, services. So just kind of going through here, we have community mental health agencies, mentoring programs, healthcare, which includes Medicaid, Medicare, community health and dental clinics, and the service finder I mentioned there again. Housing, food, we have SNAP, we have Feeding Illinois that has a listing of active food banks in Illinois, the Illinois WorkNet centers, the Inside Out Network, education from adult education program, the GED, apprenticeship opportunities, higher education, and National ABLE. For networking resources, we also have the event calendar, service finder, student trade connections, the volunteer guide, and additional networking resources for articles and videos. And so you can see we have a lot of links to the different services and organizations that are available to help returning citizens. Next article we have is Catching Up on Technology. And here we have how to create an email account, because these returning citizens, they may not have one or know too much about it, but we have kind of a description of it and a link to email service providers that they can create an email with. GCF Global, they are an organization that offers tutorials on computers. They have they're free to use, that covers the basics of using computers and typing, using other skills, and so forth. We also have the Illinois WorkNet Digital Literacy Guide that covers important skills that are needed for all across all industries when it comes to technology. And so some of the articles included in this guide are why online security matters, why knowing your computer and mobile device matters, why software and apps matter, why online skills matter, why networking and cloud technologies matter, and more digital resources. Up next, we have the top 5 things to know about expunging or sealing records. This could be its own presentation because there's a lot of information to it, but this is just kind of meant to be a starting point. And so we kind of explain here the 5 things we have are: what's the difference between expunging and sealing records? Why would you want to expunge or seal your record? Are you eligible to expunge or seal your record? How to go about expunging or sealing, and the time frame. How long will it take to expunge or seal the record? And below this, we have additional resources and information with kind of more tips, more points of consideration, the ability to potentially waive fees in filing these forms, where you can receive free assistance from legal professionals and so forth. Apply for jobs is the next article we have in the guide. So again, we'll just kind of set up, what is included in here. We have set your career goals, some information and articles about that to consider for short and long-term goals, learning about careers and career options to research and determine what's the best fit, and resume writing. The importance of that, skills. We have a skills document here that they can use as a reference to identify what skills they have. The crucial sections of a resume to include, and guidance for about how long it should be. And then we also have resources for searching for job opportunities, applying for jobs, and that list of networking resources again here, just in case they meet someone who can provide them with a lead on a job. So it is important to go to events and hiring events and local organizations. We also have an article for interview for jobs, and here we just talk about best practices, do's and don'ts, what to wear, how to engage with the interviewer, and some other tips for knowledge to know about the company, check out their website beforehand, and be ready to ask questions about the company. What questions to expect, to be honest in the interview. And we also have a Illinois WorkNet interview tool that users can use to practice their interviews. They can record themselves too, so they can see how they answered, what their posture was like, their voice, and kind of learn from that and how to improve. And additionally, we also talk about what to reveal about the record, and to on an application, don't leave anything blank, but put an answer down for it. And to stay calm and confident that they have the skills and qualities that can impress the right employer. Then we have first day on the job. And again, this is just kind of best practices, be ready to ask questions on the first day, have an elevator pitch of sorts to, talk about themselves, highlighting their work history. There's not really a need to mention, that they were recently released. There's no need to bring that up, as you're working, to get to work early, to be social, be friendly, relax, and just learn and ask questions for your first day, and also to prep by getting a good night's sleep and eating a breakfast in the morning beforehand. And lastly, in the Returning Citizens Guide, we have the money management tips. And so if we'll just open up this very quickly. Included in here, we just have an introduction, getting started, financing, education and training, money tips for small businesses if they're interested in opening up a business at some point, and managing finances. And you can see that this guide is set up just the same way as the Returning Citizen is, as far as navigation and appearance. All right, and so that's the Returning Citizens Guide. And next, to kind of help with, if some of your customers are returning citizens and they're wanting to find a new job or career, we do have career tools that are available that the customers can use for developing and going through their career plan and job search. And so with an Illinois WorkNet account, once logged in, you can select My Dashboard and then Dashboard. And customers can, we'll actually click the Career Plan Tools page. And then this will show the career tools that are available. And so customers can access any of these career tools in any order, but we recommend starting from the beginning for the best results. And we'll take a look at each one of these here. So Employment 101 is a self-guided resource. It begins with a pre-assessment that shows what the user knows about the work environment, and so forth. And so in the pre-assessment, we have an overview window here of what is included. It's multiple choice, it is not timed. They'll take it once. And the assessment is graded, but it's not counted against the user. And so some of the topics covered in here include the career exploration and training program exploration, workplace and job search skills, goal setting, and violence prevention and awareness. So that's step one. And step two is the guide. And the guide integrates some of the tools that we have available on Illinois WorkNet. And so they'll follow the steps in this guide to develop a career and job search plan. And some of the planning tools include skills and interest results, career and training research, resume and portfolio building, job search skills, and the job search organizer, and leaving notes to achieve their goals. So we'll open up About Guide. We'll actually click the guide. We can see here, if we click that. So this is the guide, and this is my current progress through it. We see an overview here that provides more information about how this guide is set up and what is available to use. And that, while they're working through this, they can share their saved results with a career advisor and information on how to do that. And once completed, there's a post-assessment that they can complete and earn a certificate of completion. But as they're going through the guide, since it's synced up to their WorkNet account, as they're going through it and they're completing the items in here, you'll see this progress bar. And so I'm 12.5% through, and I have one of 8 modules completed. And down here we have 3 different sections. So prepare a career plan, prepare a job search plan, and achieve your goals. And under here we have different links here. And if we count them up, there's 8. So I've completed the first module of exploring careers, and then up next is explore training. And we also have get qualified, and then get prepared, finding jobs, start a job, financial literacy, and skills for success. And so if we just go to explore careers, this is the one that I completed, but we can see that within this section, there's subsections here, and we can navigate through this. And so I was discovering the careers that match my interests is up next. And then I'll just kind of navigate through here, and I'll learn about the skills and interest surveys that are available for me to take and determine what career field would be best for me. And we also have descriptions of all the surveys that we have integrated into Illinois WorkNet and about how long it takes. And so then after completing a module, I'll see the next steps. And so once I'm ready, I'll click to continue and navigate to the next section here, which will be completing a career cluster inventory to determine what industry would work best for me. And so you'll see that once we pass through under explore careers, we are on discover careers that match your interests. And now it's time to explore jobs and the required skills and wage information. And so I'm on step 2 of that activity. So we'll go back to career tools, because Employment 101 or the career tools, there's a lot of information in there. And we do have a partner guide page that has a lot of information about Employment 101. but we'll get to that in a second. Next, want to cover assessments. And so when I open up assessments, this will take me to this page. And here it'll show the assessments, the surveys that I've taken that are within Illinois WorkNet, and it'll save the results. So I can see I've taken the pre and post assessment for Employment 101, which is what we were just on. I can see the scores, the dates they were taken, and then I can view my results. And in passing Employment 101, if you get a score of above 70%, on the post assessment, you get a certificate that can be included on resumes and portfolios. But once completed, you can download the certificate here. But again, for other surveys that are taken, I can see I haven't. Okay, there's a few here. For other surveys I've taken, I can come back and see, when, what the score was, and a link to it to take that. So those assessments that are taken on Illinois WorkNet, they're included here. Additionally, you have a lot of different surveys and assessments on the workforce partner portion of our site at illinoisworknet.com/assessments. We have a partner guide that talks about and goes into detail about all the assessments we have, including why to take them, how to access them, how to kind of determine their scores, and so forth. And if we scroll down to here, we can see some of the different ones that we have, how to determine what skills and interests job seekers have, Employment 101, the self-evaluation of essential skills, the observational evaluation, worksite evaluation, and several others that we have. And so this is on the partner guide, which you can access from the Workforce Partner homepage, which is at illinoisworknet.com/partners. That'll take you to this page too. And below here, we also have more information about Employment 101 to include here. We have this article that goes into detail about what topics are covered and how partners can assist with their customers in utilizing this tool. And so next we have the to cover in the career tools is the career plan. And so when we open that, we'll see that the plan name is Illinois WorkNet. So we'll click on this, and in the career plan, you can track and create goals and steps added to help achieve those goals. And you can add dates and track them on your own. And you can also work with a career counselor to help complete your steps or goals. So for example, we redirected here, we can add a goal statement. You can enter the goal that and a job. And so for category, we can just say this is part of the career plan, and it is a short-term goal. And so we'll add the goal. And we can see that it's been added down here. But as we're working through the goals that are part of the career plan, you can see at first get a job or work experience. And I did this before our presentation here, but if we open up show next steps, we can see the kind of sub goals, if you will. So within get a job or work experience, we have build your portfolio. And then we have more information about that, do's and don'ts on creating your portfolio, and what resource or tool on WorkNet can help you achieve this part of your goal. And so you can see that we have goals, we have columns for updating, the steps, more information and links to resources about that, the dates, and then the status of that goal. So we can come in here and for the, let's say the portfolio has been built. I've done that. We can click update, and then we can enter, we can change the dates if need be. We can change how many hours a week I'm planning on working on this, additional notes. And then if I've completed this, I can mark this as successful completion. I'll just add the date in there, click update. And if we open up this again, we can see that this item has been completed. And so, as you're going through these, you can check these off and keep track of the career plan during your research and development of preparing yourself for finding a job. And so under get a job or work experience, we have build your portfolio, get skills experience, and network by being a volunteer, organizing your information, preparing your resume, preparing for an interview. A lot of different goals within this section that show what all is involved in the job search process. And so some of the other goals we have here after get a job or work experience is get training to enhance your skills, getting support to reach your goals, living independently, and advancing in your career, and then securing the job. And as these are being updated, you can download the career plan. So any changes you make, they're saved here. If you click download, that'll save, and it can be downloaded as a PDF. And then additionally, another tab we have here is accomplishments. So as those items are getting checked off and completed, they'll be added here. So we have completed goals, earned credentials list, and completed services list. And since we just marked that building my portfolio was completed, it shows up under this completed services list. And then if we go to job leads, I can bookmark, I think this is going to be, so any of the Illinois WorkNet job finder that we have that we'll talk to in a little bit, because it is part of another tool. Any jobs that are saved here and bookmarked will populate in this bookmarked job section here. And we have articles and tips that may be of, that may be useful for the customer that are populated right here. Okay, so going back to the career tools, we have the next section here. This is notes, and this is pretty straightforward. This is just for the job seeker to add a note here, then give it a title, and then enter a meaningful note here and click save. And then notes, maybe what to look for, what are places to begin networking, for example. We have that listed here, and they can add other notes in here, really about any part of the job search process that can be saved here. And so we have a notes section. The compare careers tool, so we open up this. This will take us to a page where we can bookmark some of our careers. So if we click this explore and bookmark careers, this will take us to the careers, wages, and trend search on Illinois WorkNet. And so, down here, we can, find the occupations that are in demand. We can enter a keyword, or we can actually select one of the industries down here. So we'll select hospitality and tourism, and we will add chefs and dinner cooks. So we'll click this. We can see some of the wage data and projected data, annual openings at a glance. So you can see skills and training that are needed for this position and so forth. A lot of information here. If we select bookmark this, this will be populated on our compare careers page, but I want to get another occupation included in here, like fishing guides. Okay, so then we'll come back here and refresh this page. And we'll see that the two careers that I've bookmarked have been added here. So as they're going through occupations that are in demand and learning about them and the requirements, they can bookmark the ones that they're interested in and want to get qualified for. And once they bookmark them, they'll show here. And so they can kind of see at a glance the information about that occupation. If they click more details, then a new tab opens up with all that information that we saw. And they can rank their careers too. they can, so maybe the fishing guides, that became the primary focus. So they can click this arrow to move it up and so forth, and they can add multiple careers in here. And if they need to remove one, they can just select this icon and click remove. And then we also have links to additional exploring career options with videos and articles. Going back to our list here, we have compare training, and this is similarly set up. We have, for training programs, we have a couple columns here, tables that look the same, with being able to move and rank the programs and to remove them. But we have two columns here, one for WIOA approved programs and one for public and private training providers. And so if we click this button up here, the Explore WIOA approved training, this will open up the WIOA training program search on WorkNet. And as they are using this search, they can also bookmark this and add this in here, and it'll populate in here, this information. And again, they can rank it, and this tool works the same as the Compare Careers tool for both of these searches, for WIOA approved and the public and private training program search. Next up, we have the job search organizer. And so I mentioned Indeed earlier. And so from here, we can see this table of the job search plan. So we can see the jobs that we're interested in, the job openings, applications, interviews, follow-up, and archive. So in here, to add a job here to job openings, we click Find Job Opening. This will open up that Illinois WorkNet Job Finder. And this is a search of jobs in Illinois that are uploaded to Indeed.com. And they can use this search to filter through the jobs that they're looking for. And if they select this book, they'll have to be logged into WorkNet, as a reminder. If they select the bookmark icon, then it will show up under opening. So we just selected billing specialist. If we refresh this page, we will see this at the top of the column of openings, billing specialist care. And again, if we need to remove or edit this, we can. But we have a link to that job posting that's included as well, and that's the link to Indeed. But we can drag and drop within the column. So I was interested in the billing specialist, and as I'm preparing to apply, and I learn about their site, find that it's the right fit for me, what I can do is, in my career plan, to just kind of keep everything organized, I can drag this over into the applications column. And so once I have a interview lined up, if the company is interested in me, I can move this over to the interview. And then after the interview, follow up. I can follow up with the employer, thanking them for consideration. And then we have an archive section as well that this can be added to. So that Find Job Opening, that will take users to the Illinois WorkNet Job Finder. We also have the Search Virtual Job Fairs, which takes us to the Virtual Job Fair landing page, but Daniel's going to tell us all about that shortly. And then they can also add a job. So they can manually add a job by filling out this information here, and it will populate in the job openings column. And the last career tool that we have listed here is the Resume Builder. And so the Resume Builder can be used to create resumes, cover letters, portfolios, and several other types of documents. They can be shared with career counselors for their feedback. And there's hundreds of samples to choose from and customize. And again, this could be its own presentation, but what we'll do is we'll just do a quick navigation through this. So to create a resume, I'll come in here, click Name Resume, and say David's resume. give it the date. So click Start Resume, and then I see that I can browse from samples, sections, and I can start from scratch. We're going to look at browse samples, so I'll click Continue. And from here, I can browse the samples that are available by category. In this case, these would be different industries. So I see there's 27 for business and financial operations, and let's say that's the one the industry I'm interested in. So I'll click that, and I can see there's 27 samples, but I can refine this even further by experience level, whether it's entry level, mid-career, or experienced. And let's say it's entry level, so there's 12 of those. They'll populate down here, and then I can click on this, get a view of what the resume sample looks like. And when I find one that interests me that I want to use or kind of mirror, I can click Use This Sample. And so when I do that, it'll populate with my information. And while it copies that template, what can then be done is they can come in here and click and make edits, and the changes are made and saved in Optimal in the resume building tool. And there's a lot of documents, tools, tips to help improve the documents, styling, formatting, spell checking. And additionally, there's tips, samples, video tutorials, instructions on how to use the resume building tool as well. And so I want to go to, kind of a reminder. So, we've said that, customers' information is saved, their progress for these career tools are saved in here. And partners have the ability to access this as well if they have been assigned to project groups, or if you create a personal group in the customer support center for which you have rights to. You can invite them. You can invite your customers if you have a kind of workshop. You can invite your customers to that group. They'll need to obviously have a WorkNet account, but once you invite them and they accept your invitation, you can review any of the resources that they've added in their career plan, in their assessments. And so what you'll need to do is, since this is on production, I don't want to show live data, so I'll pull this over here. And so what you'll do to create or invite people to a group is you'll have to have a partner access account with Illinois WorkNet, and then you'll log in, selecting My Dashboard, and then selecting the Customer Support Center icon. And then from here, you'll see groups, and you can, if you've already created a group, you'll see a hyperlink, and when you select that, you'll navigate to the View Customers tab, and you'll see the customers that are included in here. And with the hyperlink, you'll just select the last name, and then you can view their results, the surveys they've taken and saved in their career plan. But to invite them, you will select the Invite Others tab, which I think is the one it defaults to. You'll select that, and you'll be able to invite them via email. And then let me go back here. Once you do click on the hyperlink of their last name, it'll open up some tabs here, and you can view, you'll have a display of their assessment results, and whether it's Employment 101 or the skills and interest surveys, if it's part of that career plan and the tools they're using, you'll be able to view this information and kind of see their progress as they're navigating through it. And so that's an overview of the career tools that are available for customers and how you can use the Customer Support Center to view their results and assist them in their career plan and job search. And so with that, I will turn it over to Daniel, who will be discussing the virtual job fair tool.
Thank you so much for that introduction, David. And again, my name is Daniel Mariscal. I'm customer service specialist, but more importantly, virtual job fair coordinator here at Illinois WorkNet. I know a lot of you folks have probably worked with me in the past, but for those of you who are new, welcome. Of course, I hope this is a good overview for you to help kind of familiarize you with the virtual job fair platform and what exactly it is that we can help provide you and your customers. So nonetheless, what you'll see here on your screen is how to qualify for jobs, again, using the virtual job fair tools. As you can see, 2 screenshots there up on the screen that I want to direct your attention to. When you're on the main WorkNet homepage, you can easily access the virtual job fair platform, through one of 2 methods. On the left-hand side, you'll see a screenshot there with the menu tab. If you scroll down to qualify for jobs and click that option, you'll see second option there is virtual job fairs. If you click on that, it will re-navigate you to the virtual job fair landing page. Secondly, if you scroll down on the home page, you will see a virtual job fair kind of landing page as well. You'll see 2 options. One will be setting up virtual job fairs. The second will be searching virtual job fairs, and we'll get a little bit more into that here in a minute. You'll see there a short URL that we do have on the page as well that you can quickly navigate to the virtual job fair landing page. You'll see it's illinoisworknet.com/VJF. And for folks that are new to the virtual job fair platform, you'll see a little kind of descriptive sentence there above. You'll see virtual job fair is intended to help folks find job openings from entry level to technical professional levels, all across different types of industries and career fields. Again, if folks do have the plan to be self-employed, they can learn how to get started with a business plan. They can connect online to different courses that are available and business startup services as well. Another thing to keep in mind here too is kind of gearing the virtual job fair platform towards employers too. So if folks are looking to hire individuals into their ranks, the virtual job fair tool can be a good means of doing so as well. So again, I know kind of the focus of today's presentation, at least as far as WorkNet is concerned, is kind of returning citizens and how we might be able to leverage the virtual job fair platform to do so. As you'll see there, second bullet point, the VJF is an exceptional tool and opportunity for returning citizens to learn about companies, their missions and culture, expectations of job candidates, what skills exactly they will need to be successful on the job, and first and foremost, of course, how to apply for those job openings that are available. One of the features of the virtual job fair tool that we do pride ourselves on is that we do facilitate or provide the opportunity for folks to be able to communicate with employer representatives that are hiring throughout the state of Illinois, of course, all at no cost. And one thing that we do encourage for you out there, if you are, kind of tuning in as a workforce development practitioner, if you're employed at a WorkNet center, so on and so forth, if you are seeking to hire returning citizens, or employers who are seeking to hire returning citizens, we do encourage them to create a booth on Illinois WorkNet. This process is easy, we've streamlined it, and we do intend for it to be completed within just several minutes time, so we can be mindful of folks with their busy schedule. A little bit of an overview of the employer booths and what to expect. Again, you can see here in the screenshot that's listed on the screen. Again, that's just a brief snippet, if you will, of all of the employer booths that we currently have available and accessible on Illinois WorkNet. Again, as you'll see there in the screenshot, these can be searched for by name. It can be filtered by industry. You can also search by proximity to location or place as well to help kind of narrow down that search for employers that are hiring within the various regions throughout the state of Illinois. Again, another point that I want to direct your attention to, you'll see off to the left-hand side there, is that we do have an option as well for folks to be able to view upcoming virtual job fair events as well that are upcoming throughout the state and are being promoted on Illinois WorkNet as well. So we're going to do kind of a little bit more of a deep dive, if you will, into the employer booths themselves. Again, another good screenshot on the right-hand side here to help familiarize you with the employer booth and what exactly that looks like, but also what information is contained on that page as well. You'll see we have an option for employers to be able to list their locations and websites, also job information and industries, a brief employer description, employer contacts as well, upcoming virtual job fair events if applicable. We also have a section, as you'll see there in the bottom left-hand side, where we do archive virtual job fair videos that are live. And we do record all of the events that Illinois WorkNet facilitates, whether they're single employer events or multi-employer events. And for those of you that are not familiar with the breakdown of those two, again, we'll be delving a little bit more into those here shortly. Circling back to the employer booth page, however, we do see we also have a section as well where employers can also add documents that they deem to be relevant for job seekers that are looking at their employer booth page. And last but not least, we also encourage employers to provide links to their social media pages as well, so that interested applicants can also follow those pages and see any updates that occur, so on and so forth. Any other useful information that that employer might be trying to relay to potential job seekers out there. Again, that can all be accessed through those social media links that we do encourage employers to include on that employer booth page. Next here, kind of circling back to the listing of virtual job fair events that I talked about earlier, you'll see a slide here kind of outlining what our event calendar looks like as well. So you'll see on Illinois WorkNet, under that virtual job fair platform, there will be a tab off to the right-hand side where you can access, a VJF specific event calendar, and that will be a complete kind of repository, if you will, of all of the events that are upcoming throughout the state of Illinois. Now, I do want to make note, some of those will be facilitated by Illinois WorkNet, but we also encourage employers and other workforce partners to post events that are upcoming on that calendar as well. So some of those will be facilitated by WorkNet, and some of those will actually be facilitated directly by an employer, could be facilitated or co-facilitated by a workforce partner as well. So just want to make sure folks know that that calendar is open and accessible to the public. And if you do have customers or employers that would like to share events on that calendar, please feel free to share this information with them and encourage them to post those events on that calendar for job seekers to see. As you can see here, we can also kind of narrow down a search as well. If we are, let's say, a job seeker that's on the WorkNet site, taking a look at this event calendar, you can see here, we could search by city. We can also narrow that by zip code. You can also type in specific keywords as well, for maybe particular jobs or events that we're seeking to register for. You can see here, we can also narrow our search by LWIA as well, my apologies. So important information here for workforce partners as well. If you're not keyed into this tool quite yet, you can narrow it down by your LWIA as well to see what events are upcoming in your region. Now, as you see off to the right-hand side here, we do have a screenshot of exactly what is pulled up when you select one of these events. So you'll see here, the sample event that we have is for the Spanish Coalition for Housing virtual job fair event that we held in March. So if you click on that entry on the calendar, what will pull up is what you see on the upper right-hand corner, the screenshot that we have here. You'll see here, we do have a breakdown for date and time, location. If it's an online event, as you'll see, we have an option for you to be able to upload the registration link to that, so job seekers can access that directly. We have a section as well where you can upload a description. And then you can also link as well, and we do this on when we create our events in-house, we'll directly link the employer booth to this event page as well. Again, just trying to ease accessibility and make sure folks are landing on the pages they need to be able to access the registration pages and make sure that they get to the events, of course. As you can see there, listed under that, we have hiring employer information as well. Again, we'll typically try to provide the location of where the employer is based out of or where they're hiring and what industry exactly it is they're hiring in. And then again, I want to direct your attention up to the top of that screenshot as well. You'll see we do have the option as well to be able to add an event to a calendar. We also have the ability to share an event. And then for folks that might be a little bit old school, we also do have the ability to also print those events as well. Moving on, you'll see here just a little bit more elaboration on the virtual job fair events. And you'll see here, kind of during the virtual job fair events themselves, excuse me, you'll see job seekers do have the chance to learn about what skills employers are looking for. They'll cover tips for applying to the jobs that they're seeking to hire for, perks, benefit packages, and they also can ask any other questions that they do have that might, they might deem as relevant during the session as well when we host the Q&A portion. Another thing that I want to note is another kind of feature that we have rolled out, and I do believe we'll be talking about this a little bit more in subsequent slides, but we also do offer for our multi-employer events or maybe our more stacked or highly registered single employer events, we also do host breakout rooms as well, where job seekers will go into a designated breakout room with an employer. They'll be able to interact directly with that employer. They can turn their cameras on, they can unmute themselves. They can ask those questions directly and kind of develop that rapport with that employer that's on the call. And something important that we also do want to draw your attention to as well is that, again, I know I mentioned this earlier, but we do record all of these webinars, both single employer and multi-employer, and we do upload them regularly to the Illinois WorkNet YouTube channel and also to the employer booth pages of the employers who were a part of the event. A few additional resources that we'd like to draw your attention to as well. We do have some articles that we frequently link to as well on our registration pages, and some of you, again, might be familiar with this already. You can see here, we're not going to do a deep dive into it, but again, just want to draw your attention to it. You see here, first article is how to prepare for VJF. And again, this is intended to provide job seekers with tips for success during live events. Again, this article will cover what individuals can expect and how they can prepare for a virtual job fair event. This will include things like researching the company, all the way to preparing a resume, testing computer equipment, making sure that audio is working on the day of the live event, video is working on the day of the live event, so on and so forth. Again, this is also just intended to be a great introduction to prepare job seekers for online meetings and events. As we know, those platforms are new to a lot of folks, kind of in this new virtual space that we're in. Second article that I'd like to draw your attention to, you'll see, is actually attending VJFs. And again, this is directed or geared towards the job seeker. This will include information for job seekers on how to keep things professional during the virtual event itself. For example, they're paying attention, actively taking notes, actively listening, and then also kind of asking what those next steps will be, following up with employers, to keeping a job search record handout to help keep track of those employers that they're interested in, the folks that they're meeting with during the live events, of course, and who they are sending job applications to. So again, just intended to share some additional resources with you, a couple helpful articles that we always link to on our registration pages for job seekers who are, again, perusing those pages. We also do offer a partner guide as well. And I know David, when he was presenting, he went into various other partner guides as well, but we do encourage highly any of our workforce partners or other individuals who use the Illinois WorkNet platform to take a look at this partner guide for the virtual job fair. Again, on this partner guide, think of it as just a large repository, literally, of all of the information we have related to virtual job fair, including templates, guides, you name it, it's on that guide. So again, do highly encourage you folks to take a look at that guide if you're thinking about utilizing the virtual job fair tool, if you're thinking about trying to set up a virtual job fair, host an event, so on and so forth. You'll want to make sure to take a look at this guide. You'll see here we do have the link on the page for you. Again, that is accessible through illinoisworknet.com/VJF guide. Again, that's going to contain articles, past and upcoming training sessions, guidance and instructions, social media templates, flyers, and a whole slew of other resources as to how you can get started on planning and holding a virtual job fair. Again, whether the event is for one employer or multiple employers, we do have guides for you to help every step of the way and during that planning process for you. Planning your event, just a few things that we want to draw your attention to as well. Again, you'll see two options here, with assistance and without assistance, and we'll delve into these a little bit here, but again, all this information is also accessible on the Illinois WorkNet page as well, and it's intended to just kind of delineate the roles and responsibilities of each of the participating parties, kind of lays out as well what a partnership with Illinois WorkNet looks like for a virtual job fair event. So the first topic we'll kind of hone in on here, you'll see, is without assistance. Again, this is an option that's probably less selected by employers or workforce partners, but nevertheless, it is one that we do offer if folks are ambitious or courageous, if you will, and they want to go ahead and try to hold their own virtual job fair event. They can absolutely do so on their own accord. As you can see here, if an LWIA or workforce partner chooses to host and coordinate an employer VJF event without Illinois WorkNet assistance, the LWIA will be responsible for the following. You'll see here, employer booth creation, employer booth review and approval. They'll be responsible for creating an event registration page. They'll also want to be sure to create an Illinois WorkNet event calendar entry, which we did cover a few moments ago. Want to be sure to tag the event series on that as virtual job fair. That way it gets to the proper calendar on our pages. You also have to keep in mind that you'll need to promote virtual job fair event throughout your social media pages as well if you are a workforce partner. You'll also need to provide a webinar platform in which to host and facilitate the VJF event. Typically we use Zoom, but if you prefer to use, let's say, Microsoft Teams, WebEx, any other slew of different platforms that are out there for webinar facilitation, feel free to do so. Again, you'll need to ensure that employer has the presentation materials, provide technical assistance and facilitation of the event, add a recording to the event into the participating employer's booth page, and last but not least, you'll need to make sure that you provide post-event follow-up as well. Now, off to the left-hand side, we have the with assistance kind of portion of this slide as well. And you'll see this by far is probably more so what folks come and ask of Illinois WorkNet when they are looking to seek to host a virtual job fair event. As you can see here, if an LWIA requests assistance from the Illinois WorkNet staff, Illinois WorkNet will do much of the things that I just covered on the without assistance side. So you'll see we'll create an Eventbrite registration page. We'll create the event calendar entry, we'll schedule social media posts to help promote the event. We'll provide Zoom training if need be, since that is a preferred platform that we use. We'll troubleshoot and provide technical assistance during the event. We'll provide post-event follow-up, including but not limited to sending a feedback survey to participants and employers, providing registration information and turnout, and we'll also provide a recording of the event and upload to participating employers' booth pages as well. There is one caveat here that I do want to mention as well. We don't consider ourselves necessarily to be a catch-all. We will, of course, are excited and elated to be able to assist you, but we do expect as well to for the LWIA or workforce partner and employers to kind of have skin in the game as well, so we can cast a larger net. So you'll see there, if an LWIA does request assistance from Illinois WorkNet, we do expect the LWIA staff to do the following as well. Communicate with the employer to ensure Illinois WorkNet does have an account that is active and available and accessible, and that an employer booth page has also been created as well. We also ask that the LWIA review and approve the employer booth entry for the participating employer or employers. We also ask that the LWIA ensure that the employer has PowerPoint slides for the event and that the slides are provided to Illinois WorkNet in advance for us to be able to screen share. And during the event, we do ask that the LWIA also actively engage with the job seekers and the employers as well. So we do ask that they provide opening and closing remarks after Illinois WorkNet has made the technical opening statement. We also ask that the LWIA facilitate participant questions that are asked through the Zoom chat. And last but not least, we also ask that the LWIA share information about local resources and services that are available to attendees. Some examples we included here are work support, American Job Centers, so on and so forth. Some best practices that we wanted to share with you all as well regarding the virtual job fair. I'm going to go off script here for a little bit and say we have held over 200 webinars since the inception of the tool and since it was rolled out in mid-2020. So again, we just wanted to share some of those best practices with you. We have had nearly 16,000 folks that have attended our events, both single employer and multi-employer. So again, we just wanted to share some of those best practices that we've extracted through holding all of those events thus far. Again, for single employer events, we do ask for a minimum of 2 weeks lead time for scheduling, planning, coordination, and promotion. We do want to note that typical runtime for our single employer events tends to be 30 minutes. But again, when we see sessions for single employers that have a significant overflow, we will hold up to a 1-hour session as well, depending on those registration numbers. For our single employer events, the event format or the flow, if you will, is intended to be very much kind of an informational presentation with a formal Q&A with job seekers. We have found that the highest yields have occurred when active promotion takes place in concert between the LWIA and the employer as well. So, not only Illinois WorkNet actively promoting the event is upcoming and going to take place, but also the LWIA does so through their respective platforms and channels as well. And the employer also has skin in the game and is making sure that they're actively promoting the event as well, is always going to ensure that we have the highest yields possible for our events. Again, Illinois WorkNet will record the session. We'll provide post-event registration reports to the employer, to the LWIA, and to other participating workforce partners to conduct follow-up with the job seekers. That's another important thing that we want to note as well for folks that might be new to the platform or considering utilizing the platform. We do not conduct direct follow-up with the job seekers. We do very much encourage, again, the employer to do so, the LWIA to do so, and the workforce partners to do so, as we do have limited capability with the staff that we have on hand. So again, just want to make sure that that point is definitely articulated with you and clearly established. Moving on, you'll see some multi-employer best practices as well. So you'll see here, we do ask for more lead time, obviously, for our multi-employer events. 4 weeks is the bare minimum. We do prefer 6 weeks, however, just to make sure that we have effective scheduling, planning, coordination, and promotional lead time. With our multi-employer events, because there's a lot more working parts that are taking place, as you can imagine, we do typically hold dry runs as well with all participating employers, workforce partners, workshop presenters, approximately 1 week prior to the live event. We do ask that folks be available to participate in the dry run. The number of employers, again, we've learned this through experience. We found personally for staffing limitations that we have, the ideal or optimal range is between 8 to 15 employers. So if it falls within that range, we're going to be all set. We do also offer optional workshop series leading up to events as well. This is something that's a little bit newer that we rolled out late last year, and we found that we had a lot of success with this and a lot of positive feedback from both employers, job seekers, and workforce partners. You'll see some of the past topics that we have held workshops are resume writing, creating an elevator pitch, preparing for a virtual interview, and one that is really interesting and delves kind of into kind of the at times complicated process is navigating the state of Illinois' hiring process. So we do have somebody from CMS that hops in on our webinars, and they give a very thorough, in-depth analysis and presentation on how exactly to navigate that hiring process for state of Illinois partners that we do have that are looking to hire folks. Again, these topics are not all encompassing. We have obviously held topics on a number of different, skills and what have you. And we're also open as well. If you do come to us with a new topic, maybe that we haven't held a workshop on, we're more than happy to help kind of facilitate that as well, or find somebody that can help us facilitate that. Moving on, you'll see the multi-employer event format tends to be as well an informational presentation along with small group discussions with job seekers using the breakout room feature in Zoom. We do want to kind of emphasize as well, we try to stray away from using the language interviews. We have had folks kind of bring that up in the past, so we do like to call them small group discussions. We don't facilitate one-on-one interviews, so we do want to be clear about that, but we do facilitate those small group discussions where job seekers do have the ability to meet with employers who are on the line, ask questions that they do have, again, provide them with that opportunity to develop a rapport with the employer and move to the next steps, which would presumably be those initial interviews with employers. Typical runtime tends to be about 2 hours. We do kind of build into that a 30-minute check-in time as well, where we'll go ahead and make sure all of the employers or participating partners on the line have all of the technical pieces of participating in the webinar ironed out, if you will. So we'll make sure that their audio is working. We'll make sure that their video is working as well. And we'll go ahead and troubleshoot any other issues that they might have and answer any other questions they might have as well. Last point here, you'll see we do record these sessions as well. And we do provide those post-event registration reports to the employer, to the LWIA, and other participating workforce partners, again, to conduct those follow-ups with job seekers who attended the events. And I do believe that will conclude the virtual job fair portion of our presentation here today. I'm going to go ahead and turn things back over to David to kind of give an official concluding statement. David?
Thank you very much, Daniel, for going over the virtual job fair. So kind of in summation here, with all this in mind, you can work with customers who are returning citizens and utilizing the tools on Illinois WorkNet. You can provide them with the resources, with the local organizations, services, all the different items covered there in the guide that we have based on their needs. You can track your career plan and progress with them using the Customer Support Center tool, and you can hold a VJF event for them. As we have said that we have held an event in the past that was specifically for returning citizens, and leading up to that event, you can hold workshops, 1 or 2 that can serve as informational sessions that can be tied into that event. And again, Daniel mentioned that we are flexible when it comes to this sort of thing, and we'll of course provide technical assistance, registration, and so forth. But to wrap up here, if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We have our support email right there at info@illinoisworknet.com. But Daniel and my email, we have that listed up on the slide here. So please feel free to reach out. Don't hesitate if you have any questions or want to learn more about any of the items covered here, whether it's the Returning Citizens Guide, the Customer Support Center, or the virtual job fair. And so with that, I want to thank you for listening. And again, thank you very much, and we will be in touch. Thanks.